Here.
AJ Mintel. Here. We have 5 board members present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, if you would all join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Next order of business would be review and approval of the minutes of the November 5th, 2025 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
Kinda.
Any corrections, additions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Who's second, Jerry?
Stephen.
Good. All right. I'll call the roll. AJ Montel.
Mantel.
Or Mantel, I'm sorry.
There should be another L on there.
Sorry. Stephen Wanamaker.
Yes.
Dave Pash.
Yes.
Thomas Evans.
Yes.
And Jerry Heinrich.
Yes.
Motion approved 5-0.
All right, thank you. Before we start, I think I should swear in Mr. Fox.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. All right, so the first application is a area and dimensional variance, case number 2925.
Request. Use variance, actually.
It's an actual.
It's a
It's a use variance. I made a mistake, caught it late today and didn't have time to make copies, so I apologize for that. So it is a use variance.
It's a use variance.
Yes, sir.
And that's for the property at 2019 Oxford State Road to allow use as a used car lot. Mr. Fox, would you give staff information, please?
Just so everybody knows, I did talk to the property owner this morning, and
staff analysis is otherwise exempt from chapter 1220. Signage signs are required a certificate of zoning compliance. Failure to obtain a certificate of zoning compliance shall be a violation of the code subject to the provision of chapter 1228, enforcement and penalties. The posting of the property and the property owner, Mr. Muhammad, promptly reached out to the city to inquire how to get the property into compliance. Ms. Savage explained the property owner that the previous use variance granted for the property does not cover automotive sales and leasing, and that Mr. Muhammad would have to seek a additional use variance through the Board of Zoning Appeals to allow the operation of a used car business. Mr. Muhammad had stated during the conversation that the property had been operating as a used car lot for the past few years, and that the reason he purchased the property. After looking into the claims, Ms. Savage found no record of a certificate of zoning compliance application or certificate of occupancy for the operation of the automotive and leasing of the property. Ms. Savage did find that the notice of violation had been sent to the previous property owner on February 2024 for the operation of a used car lot without a certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. In addition to the storage of several shipping containers on the property. Based on the file in our permitting system, no resolution for the issue of the operation of the business was recorded. To date, the legal non-compliance of the city's development code is to allow the operation of automotive sales and leasing had been pursued or approved for the property. A request by applicant Dylan Muhammad for a use variance for the property at 2019 Oxford State Road and Omaha Street to allow the use of the property to be used as a car lot. Middletown Development Code, Table 12043, principally permitted uses does not allow automotive sales and leasing from an R4 residential district. Per the Middletown Development Code, the requirements for legal notice for variance requests were sent to all property continuous and directly across the street from the public right-of-way for the subject property. No comments have been received to date. That's the variance application, original one. Casey's letter sent off to the property owner. Pictures of the notice posted at the property. Some more pictures of the property. Some more pictures of the property. More pictures, couple more. Couple emails, or an egg email from Mr. Baker. A couple more pictures coming. And use variance criteria. There's a lot of use variance criteria. To grant a use variance, the BZA shall determine that strict compliance with the terms of this code will result in unnecessary hardship to the applicant. The applicant must demonstrate such hardship by clear and convincing evidence that all of the zoning criteria are satisfied. A, the property cannot be put to an economically viable use under any of the permitted uses in the zoning district in which the property is located. Staff comment on that one, the property is zoned R4. There is currently a single-family dwelling on the property that is permitted use for the zoning district in which the property is located. On May 4, 2023, an application came before the BZA to allow a use variance on the property for retail and service commercial use. This is another way the property in terms of economic viability. B, the variance request stems from a condition that is unique to the property at issue and not originally found in the same zone or district. Staff comment, while there are two buildings that exist on the property, there are no unique conditions occurring on the property that would necessitate a use variance. The property already has an approved use for the retail sales and service. This variance would allow an additional commercial use on the residentially zoned parcel. C, the variance request cannot otherwise be resolved by zoning map amendment or a zoning map amendment is not the most beneficial approach. Staff comments, a zoning map amendment would be recommended in the scenario that the property would need to be rezoned to a B2 or B3 parcel. Having a single parcel zone differently than the adjacent parcels is not the traditional accepted planning practices. D, the essential character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered by the result of the variance. Staff comments, automotive sales and leasing have a component of outdoor display and storage of automobile vehicles, which is not seen in the previous use type approved for retail sales. In the commercial service, where goods and services are traditionally stored or occurring inside the building. There is an existing structure that cannot be reasonably used for a permitted use or a conditional use in the applicable zoning district. Staff comment, there is currently a single-family dwelling on the property that is permitted use for the zoning district for which the property is located. Thank you, Casey. Number F, the property is listed in table 1204.3. The table in section 12.043 does not allow automotive sales or leasing from an R4 district. G, the hardship condition is not created by actions of the applicant. Staff comments, there is no hardship condition that was created by the applicant. He could have reached out to the city to see if that would have been permitted if that district before he purchased the property. H, the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners or residents. No fundamental rights of adjacent property owners or residents may be affected. I, the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and general welfare. Staff comments, no immediate concern from staff except for maybe increased traffic and noise. J, the variance will be consistent with the general spirit and intent of this code. Staff comment, the use variance will not be consistent with the general spirit and intent of this code. K, the required use is permitted in other districts in this code. Yes, this use is permitted in other districts like a B2 or B3 community general business district. L, the variance sought is the minimum that will afford relief to the applicant. Staff comment, no, it was the easiest option for the applicant to pursue. Next, Casey, please, thank you. Time limits, appeals requirement. I won't read all of that. Time limit and appeals. Go on to the next one, please. Staff analysis. If the board chooses to approve the use variance, the following use standards must be required as a condition of approval. Chapter 120409 D19, use specific standards for automobile sales and leasing. A, automotive sales and leasing must be located on lots no smaller than 4 acres in size, with a minimum lot frontage of 200 feet. If the lot is smaller than these requirements, the use shall require approval of a conditional use application. B, all outdoor display, storage, and sales facilities must be screened pursuant to section 12-1606. C, the use shall be located on an arterial street as designated by the office's thoroughfare plan. D, no outdoor loudspeakers shall be permitted between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. when adjacent to a residential district. E, the use shall meet all state and Ohio requirements, and dealer's license must be on display. F, automotive sales and leasing must be located on a lot with a permanent principal structure. Next one, Case. That ends staff report.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Mr. Fox?
probably do. The variance approved in 2023 was for an appliance application of some sort. I don't exactly know how it was worded, but I guess the question I have is, when was that business ceased? When had it stopped? Because I believe the variance, it's been empty for 12 months, I believe it is, would be null and void as far as that variance is concerned. Is that true?
John Roach, counsel for the city. If a use is non-conforming and it ceases for 12 months, then it's no longer, you can't reestablish it. But if a use variance is granted, that variance runs with the land. So whatever the use variance for the retail sales that was granted 2 years ago, that's still valid.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I do, and I think we talked about this last time, the November meeting. This entire property, and I could not find the dimensions of that property. It looks like it's about 3 city blocks. If you've got an overhead on that, if you could pull that back up. Yeah, there you go, there you go. Looks like it's about 2.5, maybe depending upon the size of the lot, 2.5 to 3 lots deep. If this variance, use variance were granted, would that entire property then be subject to that use variance? Which I guess what I'm asking is, could that lot become larger and larger into that neighborhood?
Yes, absolutely, as long as he meets all the use variance conditions that I read off at the end there.
Right. I mean, if we
Yes.
were granted, if we were granted the use variance.
Yes, he could go all the way back to the house and put,
Okay.
unless you guys make a condition that he can't do that, and however you guys would,
Well, is that, let me ask you then further.
okay.
I mean, if this property is subject to a use variance which is granted, do we have any authority to impose conditions on that property? I mean, that would seem to be contrary to the variance rationale if we're going to grant the variance and then all of a sudden say, well, now you can only have 20 cars on here, or your lot can only extend 50 feet back, or is that something we have the prerogative to do?
Yeah, John Roach again, counsel for the city. The BZA can impose conditions on the approval of a use variance, so you have the ability to do that. But I mean, you know, you want to be considering, can these be enforced? What's the administrative headache that's going to be created with that?
The enforcement issue, I mean, we have somebody drive by and now the cars are 55 feet back and they're only supposed to be 50 feet back. I mean, okay.
Yeah, and
I appreciate the
if I could return to Mr. Heidenreich's question, there is a 1-year expiration period if there was not a certificate of zoning compliance applied for and granted, and I don't know the answer to that question. If there was, so if there was not a certificate of zoning compliance obtained for the retail sales, then it would lapse.
we had that photograph of the notice of violation, I think, which was placed on the property itself in September of 25. September of 25. Is the city responsible for maintaining that, the integrity of that notice, so that any future owners that might buy the property
Yes, sir.
And identify yourself if you would, please.
My name is Dylan Muhammad, and I am the owner of this parcel. Yeah, like he said, I bought the property. From just my research on Google Maps, it was operating as a car dealership for at least a year from when I got it. So I went through all the necessary steps. I got a certified dealer's license. The state came out, inspected it. I thought we were good. You know, I didn't do anything intentionally to, I just didn't know. I thought it was already good. The state issued my license, and we've been operating with no issues. I mean, you know, except for recently. So when I got the notice, I contacted immediately. I took all the necessary steps. So I mean, I'm more than willing to comply. I didn't know that it wasn't, you know, that there was a different variance for, because it on the auditor it says it's a commercial property. I didn't know that there was a separate commercial properties for certain things. So yeah, I mean, I'm here saying I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it in compliance, and that's it.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you own the whole parcel.
Yes.
Let me backtrack. The house that is at the north of the parcel, 3228 Omaha Street, does anybody live there?
Yeah, I have a tenant living there now.
Okay, so it's a landlord-tenant relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, just a follow-up question to that, are they employed by you in any manner?
No. They're just a tenant.
All right, sounds good. That's all the questions that I have right now.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
What's your intentions in the future? Are you intending to expand, maintain, including the home behind there? Because if we approve this, it'll include that house can be part of this.
Sure. No, the front parking lot has enough paving for the cars that I need. Since we got the property, I mean, we cleaned it up. We got rid of all the crap that was on it. So we've done a lot of work already. That separate or the house, I plan on just having, you know, my tenant have that area, and then we have our area up front. And as far as the future goes, I mean, it's me, my wife, and son. We plan on working it. We work it every day, and that's it.
So there are no other employees besides like you and your wife?
No, that's it. Yeah, we don't do any mechanic work or anything like that on site. I noticed the thing about after 8 p.m. we're closed before then. No excessive noise, and yeah, any other questions I'm happy to answer.
You bought this from Arthur Baker?
Yes.
He didn't indicate to you that he was was he selling cars?
No, he had that property leased to a tenant that had a dealer's license and was operating out of the front. So he himself was not selling cars. And no, I had no idea about any violations. From the outside looking in, it looked like, you know, it said it was a commercial property. I looked inside, he had a certificate of dealer's license that was certified for the building. So, like I said, I just didn't think anything of it.
The people you didn't check with was City of Middletown.
Sure, yeah. And I would have thought that going through the state side of things, that they would verify that before issuing a dealer's license. Like I said, I just didn't know.
Any other questions for Mr. Muhammad?
I still have this mixed emotions of having a home that's occupied by renters on a property that could be used as a car lot. Because what you're doing is inviting any people to come in there to particularly look at the cars, and there's the house sitting in the back. It just feels.
There's a fairly big gap, like from the front area to get to the property to the back. You have to leave and then go onto the street, unless you cut through the back of the building into the grass. Which we haven't had that problem. because it's not physically connected by like a walking path or like a driveway or anything like that.
To that question, Gary, though, right, we're looking at two different addresses, right? An Oxford State address and an Omaha Street address, right? So is that not two separate properties?
The county auditor's office has 3228 Omaha as the property. They don't even list the Oxford State Road address on the auditor's records, and I'm not sure why. I mean, how about the Oxford State address?
It's pretty common with multiple properties on one parcel.
But for purposes of taxation, county property taxes, it's simply 3228, so it's only one parcel.
Well, I have one other concern of mine. You know, since this is zoned in a R4 area, and this goes, RJ, you said something before last week, I think, that, you know, we're trying to, I guess when they zoned it there, they wanted to make it a residential completely. So I have some heartburn with a house on there that, I mean, if you look at it, any one of these houses could say, well, I got a house in there, but I want to make my lawn into a car dealership that faces Oxford State Road. That's basically what he's done. Not directly, but that's what the results was. And it's just awkward in my mind from a zoning perspective. I don't know how you guys feel.
Raised it was that I want to prevent the creep of these non-conforming uses into the neighborhood. This is a neighborhood that already faces a lot of like disinvestments, like historically, and like I am pro like bringing businesses back into the fabric of the neighborhoods, but they have to be businesses that like reinforce like a pedestrian friendly like environment, at least by my standards, and car dealership is pretty much the opposite of that. So that's kind of where I was coming from, like on that, just for context. But so
Itself is not a pedestrian.
exactly, but I wanted to prevent the creep. And this is a bit of a slippery slope argument, which is always a bit tenuous. So that's just my sort of opinion on that. But what I also was the one that said, let's talk to the applicant, let's table this, and have him come here so we can get more details based off of like the small size of the business, and the fact that he doesn't have other employees that aren't directly his family members, making things a little bit. Although I do agree.
If I, I'm sorry, Mr. Mantel, yeah, no.
While we have Mr. Muhammad here, if I could ask what, general, not holding you to it, what kind of amount of cars do you plan to have on the lot?
So far we've been averaging about 10 to 12. Like I said, it's just me and my wife.
Probably by your estimate?
We can fit 20.
That's what I was going to say, about 20 probably.
Yeah, my son's only 2, so it's really just me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we can hold up to 20, but so far we've had about 10 to 12.
Yeah. As far as deliveries for vehicles, do you get trailers in, or do you
No,
go
we just
individually?
I mean, we aren't opposed to that if it ever comes up, but
Right.
so far we've not had to do that.
But you do service the cars there before you try to sell them?
We don't do any work on site. I have mechanics around the area that I use, but we don't have any mechanic tools or anything like that we do on site.
Any other questions?
Your hours would be 9 to 5, something like that? A
Um,
little later?
where our hours of operation right now are Wednesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Is that going to maintain, or are you planning on expanding your hours?
I think we're gonna stick with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see us changing that.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this use variance application, please step forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this use variance application, please step forward.
That's a good point. I forgot to make that. I was a police officer for 10 years full time. I worked for the city of Middletown. I mean, city of Mason, sorry. I went to auxiliary to run this business, and I just did that in July of this year. So this is my whole livelihood. This is what we do. That's I should have probably said that earlier as well. So that's all I just want to say. Sure.
Does that evoke any questions from the board? All right, sir, thank you. And just for the record, to make sure it's solid, based upon that question, since we are still in the public meeting, anyone wishing to speak again not in favor of the application? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Thank you. Now we'll close again the public meeting. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad.
And just one comment for the board as you get started on deliberations. Remember, we're looking at has the applicant proven that they satisfy each one of the criteria for a use variance, every criteria.
Just looking at the notes that I've got here, I'm going over the criteria based off of letter D, the essential character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered. It will / does alter it. The hardship conditions not created by the actions of the applicant. Well, actually, that changed during the course of his testimony. The granting the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or general welfare. In my opinion, it does because of the car centricity. J and K, they're, it's out of step with the general spirit and intent of the code. The requested use is permitted in other districts, and the variance sought is not the minimum that will afford relief to the applicant, so it doesn't satisfy all criteria.
Any other comments?
Well, I agree with what he just stated, but even if that wasn't the case, remember, we're giving permission for this entire lot, and there's nothing saying he can't sell to somebody that uses the entire lot later for an expanded use, which would increase what AJ just said as far as the intent of the neighborhood. That's how I feel on it anyway.
Any other comments? I have a comment. Difficult situation, but what Mr. Muhammad just said on this last portion of his statement was that being a police officer for 10 years, it bothers me that there was no inquiry to the city of Middletown. That's what bothers me. And I agree. I'm not sure the use criteria that Mr. Mantell cited have been satisfied. It's real tough when someone buys property in good faith, Mr. Arthur Baker, who's apparently operating a car lot, which was clearly in violation of city ordinance at that point in time. And now here we are dealing with a livelihood issue.
Well, I'm going to refer back to a comment I made in the last time. I feel if there was a division of this lots or something that we would restrict it to the frontage, it would make it a lot easier to me to feel satisfied. But the fact that it's a single lot that can be expanded beyond what he might want to do bothers me in the end. Now, if there's some restriction that you mentioned in the earlier, or the council said we could maybe somehow contain it, that might be something that we should discuss. Yeah, well, I feel for him as well. I mean, he's kind of been taken advantage of by some of his own ignorance, but also by the person he bought it from.
Any other comments?
Yeah, so not, what was that, a year and a half ago, this same board was okay with that being used commercially for appliances that were sitting outside in the rain and thrown all over the lot and everything like that. And that was seen as an economically viable use, and it satisfied use criteria in that instance. Honestly, I believe a car lot would probably be much more attractive and much more valuable to the community and much more aesthetically pleasing to the community than a used appliance store out in the open. When it comes to as far as interference with the tenant behind them, I mean, I think the house across the street's even closer, and the house behind it is just as close as what the tenant is. If we would approve it, I would want a condition where the lot cannot break the plane of the rear of the commercial building. If you could leave that limit where only everything is in front of the building, commercial building, I think that would limit any interaction with the tenant in the back. But this building was built, Lord knows how long ago, the commercial building, on a property when that was common, whether it was allowed or not. It's been there for decades. So I honestly don't think that's any fault of the applicants that the property is conditioned the way it is. Along that whole stretch of Oxford State, we see many lots like that that are mixed in with residential lots. I agree with AJ, if it was in the middle of the neighborhood, that's a whole different story. But Oxford State Road is definitely a thoroughfare. So I mean, personally, I don't think it's an unreasonable request. And looking at a lot of these criteria, I haven't had a chance to dissect all of them. But I honestly do think it meets many, if not all. And I'm going to continue to kind of analyze that for a second if you guys want to keep discussing.
Just piggybacking on what you said, you know, if we look at letter B, the variance stems from a condition as unique to the property at issue. The staff reports indicates that there is not a unique condition, and that might be true if we're looking at just the parcel in itself. But if we look at the greater geographical context that it lies in, I think it is unique. It fronts some major arterial road that is like the other side of that is an industrial area. And I drive that way semi-frequently. It's just a real tough thing because I really don't want to see this use start to creep in, you know. So I think we should consider applying a condition that will, as I can't remember who said this, but to not expand the footprint of the car lot past the north, the back side of the commercial building. I think that would be satisfactory to me.
Any other comments?
Can we go back to the other, the automotive use? You know what I'm trying to say? Yes, there we go. Yeah, the conditions listed there. I think it's down a little. Yes, there we go.
I'd like to just comment on the suggestion you made, and that is, if we put a barrier or inner extension, like he has to put a fence line there that would restrict that from migrating back, and also maybe address the standpoint of making sure that it's maintained as we allow it.
I understand what you're going for with that, but let's think about this from like a person showing up there. They don't know that that house is on the same like parcel as this business. I don't see like any reason that somebody would have to go from one building to the other is not going to be whatever reason they would have with the parcel lines are not going to have any bearing on that decision. You know, I can't think of a situation
No, I'm just trying to prevent the lot from expanding, that
yeah.
they
I
have
feel
some,
like behind the building, like preventing the growth of it to the north
Yeah.
from behind the building, that's already like a very visual, like line of sight, easily enforceable. There are cars parked behind the building, you're out of
Well, I don't know if that's the right solution, but some indication, otherwise people are gonna drive around it and all kinds of stuff and potentially park behind there and all kinds of things. I don't know.
I just have a question for staff real quick. For this chapter 1204, the use-specific standards, currently are we considering the use variance, is that correct? Just the use itself, are we to keep these in account for our decision as well? Or is that something the applicant does after the fact?
If you decide to approve it, staff would want A through F as conditions.
Okay.
And really, those conditions are set forth in the code for anyone who wants to use a parcel for automotive sales and leasing.
So we could approve the use, and then the applicant would have to follow these as part of the conditions of that use, that they would have to come into compliance with these one way or another.
Yeah, someone moves to approve it with these conditions, yes, that's correct.
As well as any other condition. If you want to put can't go behind the house, or that, or if you want to put no working on cars, you want to put a time frame on hours. Hours are a little bit difficult, because that'd be hard for us to enforce to some extent.
There's already, well, I guess you're allowed speakers, but he already stated that the hours are already limited as they are.
And you guys could probably go as far if you wanted to, put a condition on how many cars are on the lot at one time. Again, that comes down to an enforcement issue for me, but if that's what you decide to do, that's my job, so I'll do it.
How do you comply with A there, with the 4 acre minimum?
A up there is I don't want to say mandatory requirement, but it is something that we for sure want you to add to that, because he has to get approval from the conditional use board.
Add to what?
If you do a staff, if you do those requirements, A is one that we really want to make sure is on there.
So he would need an additional conditional use application for being smaller than 4 acres in size?
Under condition A, he's going to have to go back to Planning Commission to get the conditional use application approved, because a lot's not 4 acres in size.
Correct.
Just like anyone else who wants to this use in the city.
Any other comments? Anyone want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve and attach conditions listed here, A through F, as well as an additional condition to not expand the footprint of the car lot past the back side of the commercial building, so it's north-facing side,
And I would just say the existing commercial building.
the existing commercial building. Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Before I call the roll, can you go back to that picture to make sure it's clear what go back to the car lot? That's what I want to make sure it's clear for everybody. So where the star is, to where when you get to the building, to the front, the back two corners, you draw a hypothetical line to Omaha, and then the west property line, he can't put any cars behind that, basically the building.
That is what I'm motioning.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood, okay?
Look, question, is there a bubble on the back of that building, or what is that extended piece there in the middle?
I don't know if there's any photos that really show that angle, but I guess we can, if that's a problem, we can rephrase the motion to be the furthest extent of the back side of the current building.
Have a motion. Oh, I think, Stefan, you,
The second.
you seconded it,
Yes.
right?
Okay, you guys ready for roll?
Yes.
Okay, AJ Mantel,
Yes, Drew
Yes.
Motion approved, 5-0 per all the conditions. And I'll get that out tomorrow too. Okay. I'll mail to your house. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir.
The next application is a use variance application, case number 33-25. A request by Khalil Sloan for the use variance for the property at 1805 Church Avenue. Mr. Fox, if you could enlighten us on this, please.
I can enlighten you, yes. Okay, so this is case number 35-25, 1805 Church Avenue, the request by applicant Khalil Sloan for the property at 1805 Church Avenue. When any non-conforming use is discontinued or abandoned for more than 12 consecutive months, any new use shall conform to the regulations of the district in which it is located, and the non-conforming use may not thereafter be resumed unless a variance is granted by the Middletown Development Code, Chapter 1224.05G1 and A. Property background is 1805 Church Avenue was purchased on June 18, 2025 by the applicant. The property is zoned in the city's R4 attached residential district. The purpose of the R4 residential district is to provide for moderate to high density residential development generally located in the core area of the city and reflects the historical urban development pattern in and around downtown Middletown. Thank you, Casey. Property in question's got the blue star. So what we got going on here, he's got two houses on property. One that fronts on Columbia that has an existing tenant, and then the one on Church is the one in question where he started remodeling the house and didn't get any permits, and that's why he's here today. Go ahead. There may be cases where structures and premises in combination may not be converted to a conforming use because the original floor plan or design. In these cases, the BZA may determine that the non-conforming use may continue if the non-conforming use is in the original use of the structure and or premises. Appropriate safeguards, conditions, and design standards may be required by the BZA so as to minimize the impact of such continuance in the area. Such review and determination shall be made at a public hearing held in the same manner as a variance. Section 122610, including notice, but the variance review criteria of section 1226.10 shall not apply. Next screen, please. Variance application. And I think that's about the last one. And that's all the end of my staff report.
Any questions for Mr. Fox? Who's in control of the?
Claire is, I'm sorry.
Claire, would you pull up the overhead of the, there you go. So 1806 and 1805, I see a yellow parcel line that runs between those. So this isn't two separate lots, this is one lot?
One lot. If you see the blue star there,
Yeah.
if you go straight north of the blue star, that's the first house that fronts on Columbia.
I'm sorry. I was thinking 1806 with the number on it was the other house we were talking about.
Seems to be a misleading case.
Okay.
1804 Columbia, 1804 Columbia.
Okay. 1804, so those two, I got you now, thank you. That clarifies that for me. So, do you know when the use of 1805 was discontinued? Because it had a use variance originally, a non-conforming use variance, correct? I think that's what your history said.
Everything in the file shows that that house was abandoned for
And that one was vacant for longer than 12 months.
Oh, the one in the,
So the lot itself is non-conforming currently because in theory it has two houses, one up north, one south, okay? If you have a house that's been abandoned for more, not used for more than 12 months, basically you have to come to this board if you want to bring it into compliance.
any other questions for staff? If not, I'll open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please step forward to be sworn. Is Mr. Sloan here? If you want to speak, sir, it's up to you. Okay, come on up here. You're not forced to do it. If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Identify yourself if you would, please.
My name's Khalil Sloan. I'm the owner of property 1804 Columbia and 1805 Church Avenue.
What was your first name?
Khalil Sloan.
Oh, Khalil.
Yeah.
I pronounced it Khalil.
Yeah.
Khalil. Okay, thank you. Anything you want to tell us before we ask you questions?
I bought the property, like he said, in June. I went in contract in May or June, one of the two. But I bought the property in June. The front's rented out, and the back's been rented out for since July 3rd. His tenant living there. He's been living there. The property's nice. I mean, at this point, I just want to come in compliance and do whatever I need to do.
So is this a multifamily?
It's a house up front.
No, yeah, 1805.
Yeah, 1805 is the one we're talking about, but the one up front is 1804.
Right, 1805,
Yeah.
is that multifamily?
No, it's a single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I misunderstood. You said one was rented, that's probably 1804, and you're working on 1805.
both rented.
Okay, both of them rented.
Yeah.
So 1805 is, regardless of your non-compliance here.
Yeah.
1805 currently,
This right here is 1805. This is the exterior. That's 1805. This is the inside of it. Somebody's living there, been living there.
Okay, well, why don't you send that around to us, so we can look at it, and so we have to keep that, because that's part of the record now, since you've introduced it, is that all right? Yes. Okay, good. You probably got it on your phone somewhere.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And you currently inhabit,
Excuse me?
currently, somebody's living in it,
Yes.
all services, electric, water,
Yeah, it's been on. Yeah.
If I may ask, the process for purchasing, was it an auction or what was the process?
Honestly, to tell you the truth, the guy, when I bought it, the guy died.
Right, that's what.
He had a guy running all his properties.
Yeah.
Me and my family bought a bunch.
Okay.
Well, the guy that was running the properties, he was going in and out of this house. I can't tell you he was physically living there, but he was in and out of here. And, I really never got to talk to the owner. I bought it from an attorney, a trust attorney.
any other questions for Mr. Sloan? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this use variance application, please step forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this use variance application, please step forward. Hearing there's no one, I'll close the public portion of the meeting and ask for comments or discussion.
It's not unique. We have a lot of places with two houses on it. And these certain look right from the pictures that you took care of it.
I drove by it earlier and it's nice.
Well, considering that it was a non-conforming use, it was a non-conforming use to begin with, and just because of vacancy, now we have someone who wants to resurrect that property, and seems to have already done so.
And honestly, being familiar with the previous owner, who had multiple properties, and I'm sure until his passing, he maintained it and had it occupied. And then after his passing, it probably vacant because no one was managing it.
Any other questions regarding this application?
I'll make a motion to approve. We'll see.
Mr. Mattel, I'm sorry to jump in. The staff report, I think, is a little different than what you guys have. It's not really a use variance. There's a non-conforming use. Maybe you scroll back. So this is the standard it's under. The variance criteria don't apply. The question is set forth in this paragraph in front of you, essentially whether this non-conforming use can continue without causing hazard to the area.
Mr. Mintel? Mr. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Evans? Mr. Wanamaker?
Yes.
David Cash?
Yes.
Motion approved 5-0 per that one.
Okay, no other applications pending before the board. Any old or new business? Apparently not. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. No motion. All in favor? Meeting is closed. You have minutes that I need to sign?
I do, I think I gave them to you
Oh,
there.
okay, that's them?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
because of the last page.
Well, I just thought it was another one of the, all right.
Yes. It would turn into a.
No. I just have a tendency to launch off, and it's good that there's somebody who can help, bring it in. So I appreciate it.